On the 18th of September, you'll be asked to make a decision for the future of Scotland. Your Students' Union will be campaigning to promote the referendum and get more students involved. As part of this campaign, we've got a video from the Better Together and Yes representatives on campus. No matter what you do on the 18th of September, please make sure that you go out and make your voice count and vote. Cheers.
The best people to govern Scotland are people who live here. Currently Westminster only caters to the rich or big business. We can create a society based on social justice and equality. We can spend our money on things like welfare, education, the NHS, rather than spend it on illegal nuclear weapons that are going to cost us hundreds of £1 million each year and are based 30 miles from Glasgow. We can move away from spending it on large military or tax cuts for the rich. We can spend it on getting 1 in 4 children in Scotland out of poverty. 48% in the east end of Glasgow of children in the east end of Glasgow live in poverty. We can eradicate that. We can eradicate poverty in Scotland. Ultimately, we can have a government that represents us, the Scottish people.
The referendum is the biggest decision in our country's history. The case for saying the UK is a compelling one, and it's based on a simple notion. As part of the UK, we've got the best of both worlds. We've got a strong Scottish Parliament taking decisions on things like health and education, and we have the strength and security of being part of one of the world's biggest economies. Being part of the United Kingdom provides us with opportunities that we simply wouldn't have if we went alone. Being part of the UK means keeping the UK pound and more opportunities for young people. We benefit from public spending, which is over £1,200 more per head of the population than the rest of the UK. We can choose the best of both for Scotland. We can choose a strong Scottish Parliament and the strength and security being part of one of the world's biggest economies. That's why I'll be saying no thanks on September the 8th.
A yes vote allows us to keep free education, so you don't have to pay to come to university or college. Education is a right and not a privilege. Currently, the Westminster's imposing mass austerity plans across all range of services. We can use our money to protect free education. Although we control the policy in education, we don't control how much money we receive to spend on education. With independence, we can control our funding, and rather than sticking to this austerity plan imposed by Westminster. Senior figures have said that the research grants that Scottish universities receive won't be in danger. We receive these grants because we're good at what we do, not because we're part of the United Kingdom. With independence, we can take complete control of education and spend our money how we want and impose the policies that we want to better our education system.
Education is already devolved to the Scottish Parliament. As part of the UK, Scottish universities are thriving. Scottish institutions receive 13% of UK Research Council funding, despite us only having 8% of the UK population. We truly have the best of both worlds in terms of education. We have a strong Scottish Parliament making real decisions about our universities and world-leading institutions, as well as being backed by the wider research funding, as the research funding that comes as being part of a larger community. Scottish universities have 5 in the world's top 200. That's more per head than any population in the world. Why would we disrupt this arrangement when it's working so well for Scottish students? So I really do believe that we have the best of both worlds in a sense. The Scottish Parliament making our decisions about our universities, as well as being backed by the funding of the UK Research Council.
With independence, we can have all the powers to create jobs and opportunities for our graduates in Scotland. Currently Westminster only caters to London and the south east of England. They're only concerned with creating jobs there. We can have a government that wants to create jobs here. We'll still be a part of the bigger picture, as we'll be a member of the EU. We'll still be able to go to other countries, whether it be England, Spain, Norway, Sweden. We can still go there to seek opportunities there, because we will still be a part of that bigger picture. Currently the rest of the UK is being left out to dry by Westminster, as they're only concerned with creating opportunities in the south east of England. With independence, we can grow our economy by creating jobs and opportunities here and make Scotland flourish.
Is it going, yeah?
Yep.
For graduate opportunities, being part of the UK is beneficial to our graduates. Being part of something bigger naturally lends itself to more opportunities. Being part of a single UK labour market makes it easier for graduates to move. In 2011-2012, 8.2% of Scottish graduates took advantage of opportunities in the rest of the UK. Why would we put up any barriers to being able to take advantage of opportunities in our part of the UK? A no vote means we don't have to worry about this, and there will be no potential barriers. So for our graduates, the best way to take advantage of more opportunities is to stay part of something bigger and stay part of the UK.
With independence, non-EU students can have more opportunity in an independent Scotland. Currently Westminster is limiting how long non-EU students can stay in Scotland to study and limiting their ability to work here after they graduate. We can keep the best workers, the best students, the most skilled workers in Scotland to work here after, to continue contributing to our economy. As for the students from the rest of the UK and the EU, they'll have more opportunity in an independent Scotland with a government looking to include everyone regardless of nationality and regardless of background. We want Scotland to be a nation that looks out to the rest of the world and welcomes them. With independence we can secure this. Every student, regardless of background, will have just as much opportunity, if not more, in an independent Scotland.
For EU, students for the rest of the EU, the rest of the UK and international students, it's hard to tell what the result of the referendum will really mean. A no vote means that we can continue on as we are. A yes, whatever, leads to uncertainty, particularly for students for the rest of the UK. The Scottish Government proposed we would still continue to charge fees to students for the rest of the UK. However, this is against European law, as in the event of Scotland perhaps getting into the EU after years of negotiation, it would then have to treat students for the rest of the UK just like any other EU student. For international students, however, it might make the decision to come to Scotland a little less attractive. Being part of the UK Research Council means Scottish universities have extra opportunities for international students. They're part of a bigger research community, and that's part of the attraction of coming here, is to be part of that network. However, the Scottish Government can't guarantee that we're going to have that after independence, so for international students that might have to be a consideration that they'll have to make.
Currently we have an amazing opportunity that we won't ever get again. Scotland is a strong country with strong resources in both its land and its people. We've got us an amazing opportunity and we have to take this opportunity. Second point I would make as well is that the whole point of Better Together is to create fear and uncertainty in your mind and to tell you that you're too wee, too poor and too stupid to do this. To create fear and saying things that we won't be able to use the pound, even though Alistair Darling admitted we could. Say we won't be able to join the EU, even though senior EU figures have said that we could join the EU. We have this amazing opportunity to do this, and we have to choose hope over fear. We have to create this change that we want to see in our society. Tell us we'll go bankrupt. But then you look at countries like smaller countries similar to Scotland, like Norway, Sweden and Denmark, who all thrive and prosper. The third point I'd make is that we don't have to stick with this status quo. We can make the change that we want to see. We don't have to go with tax cuts for millionaires. We don't have to go for mass austerity. We can create this society that we want to see and go away from the status quo. So on the 18th of September, I hope you take this opportunity and vote yes.
Three statements for students in this referendum are: 1. Make sure you go out and vote. This decision is going to shape our future no matter what the result is. Make sure you read about it, get involved and go out and vote. It's your future and it's up to you to decide what you want to do with it. Secondly, I would argue for students that our universities are thriving as part of the UK. We get a disproportionate share of UK Research Council funding. We're part of a bigger research community. We're part of something bigger, and a vote yes perhaps takes us away from that. So therefore, the only way to continue that is to vote no. And my third statement for students is that I really do believe we've got the best of both worlds in Scotland. We have a strong Scottish Parliament making our decisions on health and education, and we're backed by being part of something bigger, a bigger economy, more people part of it, and more opportunities for students. That's why I'll be saying no thanks on the 18th of September. Thanks very much.
Okay, so one thing that you've found funny about the referendum campaigns?
Probably how the media reacted to the Jim Murphy egging. Of course, it's not on that got egged, but just the way that the whole media reacted and social media reacted. I mean, the same week there was a pregnant yes voter kicked in the stomach by a neo-Nazi no voter, and that wasn't covered in the news. There was a yes shop burned out in the south side of Glasgow. All these things weren't covered, but Jim Murphy being egged, that's the headline, that's the main story that they're all running with. But the media, they're mostly no anyway, so they're kind of sticking with the no rhetoric to try and get their numbers up, I suppose.
One thing I found funny about the referendum, over the last few days, the two leaders of the campaigns doing the ice bucket challenge, I think it can all get very serious. The referendum obviously is a very serious matter, but it's good to see moments like that where people can come together and do things together, and hopefully ultimately no matter what happens in September we can see more of that.
What I'd like to see from an independent Scotland is a more vibrant Scottish Parliament, a Parliament that's more representative of the people. It's made up of people from all different backgrounds, different genders, different ethnicities, different classes, and they seek to actually represent everyone in Scotland and not just the few. And they use these powers, which were guaranteed under independence and aren't guaranteed under a no vote, to actually represent everyone and create social justice for everyone and equality essentially for everyone, and actually, in actual fact, just represent us.
Change one thing about Scotland as part of UK after a no vote, I definitely want there to be a stronger Scottish Parliament. I'm firmly behind that. I've always been firmly behind that. I don't believe that independence and leaving it is actually the best solution. I don't believe that's what most Scottish people actually want. I think if we had a stronger Scottish Parliament as part of the UK, I think that would be the best arrangement, and I would personally like to see that kind of thing repeated all over the UK. Really, I do believe in that.